In today's lesson, toda kuita applications of filtration. This is the second tier of my lessons that toda kuita in combined science chemistry section. The first tier tai introduce some methods of separation, filtration, winnowing, decanting, evaporation, etc. Doma methods of separation atakaita in the first tier of our lessons. In this second tier of our lessons, tichaita ma applications of this separation method, be it in everyday life, in industry, in commerce, etc. So let us look at the applications of filtration. There are many applications of filtration. Panapa toda kungoita list 6 examples of where filtration is applied in everyday life. But we are only going to discuss one aspect, which is water treatment, because as per our syllabus, our SimSec syllabus, water treatment ndiyo yega yatinofanirwa kuita when we look at the applications of filtration. So let us put down this fact. Kutichi, applications of filtration include what do these applications of filtration include? Primarily, water treatment. Saka mvura yekanzuru inofanirwa kutanga yatritiwa, asi kanzuru iri kukundikana zvayo. Ndosaka vaungiti vakazoti makundikana fanika kanzuru. Mvura yekanzuru, especially for Harare Council, is not so much safe, but we need to learn ideally kuti vaifangwa kuita sei in the process of purification kana kuti treatment. A second example of where filtration is used is air purification. Then also food and beverage production. Imagine kubikwa kwedoro, and of course pane zvinosarira sarira zvaizvo zvinofangwa kufiltiwa kuti nyati kana kuti unodzichi supa ibudewo iri clear, iri nengatichi isina tumasadza netumumunga. Saka patori ne process of filtration inenge yaitika ipapo. For our number 4, filtration inoshandiswa panogadzirwa mapiritsi in the pharmaceutical industry, so it's used for pharmaceuticals. Then we also have filtration inoshanda in industrial processes. Then lastly, our own body as a machine in a process of purification. Saka we have a body organ inoshanda kupurify our blood. Saka inoshanda as some form of filtration. Saka panapa tikutaura about the liver, chiropa, in the human body. Saka this part I smuggled it from biology. We are going to learn about it, but chatarisa human anatomy. But these are just but 6 examples. They are not exhaustive. These examples are where filtration is used in everyday life. But sekutaura kwandaita tichangotarisa water treatment chete nekuti ndiyo yatinonzi tiite as per our syllabus. So let us look at water treatment. Saka takatarisa water treatment, and tofanirwa tanga understand the purpose of treating water. Tinoregere kungomwa mvura, and vamwe vanoti mvura ina ng'anga, and itsume iri kushona. What is the need of purifying water? So untreated water contains soluble and insoluble impurities. Ndo our first fact. Kana mvura isiri treated, untreated water, it contains soluble and insoluble impurities. Saka iyo mvura in its pure state inofanirwa kungova H2O andika kana kuti dihydrogen oxide and H2O, that is the chemical composition of water. But inogona kuva nema-impurities. Ma-impurities aya manje ma-additives, zvinhu zvawedzererwa mumvura zvisingafanirwi kunge zvirimo. Saka tine ma-soluble impurities. Ma-soluble impurities anogadzira a solution with water. Mapaona. And an example panapa, makambonza zvinzi musamwa mvura inonaya kubva mudenga. There is a myth yatinayo kunoku because of our ndingati poor understanding of science. Tinoti mvura inenge iri the most purest imvura inenge ichinaya kubva mudenga. Saka vamwe vanotobuda nemakapu vonochingidza panze kuti vakwanise kukolekta mvura iri kunaya kubva mudenga, of which science dzinoti it's not advised kumwa mvura inenge ichinaya directly kubva mudenga, because in most cases inenge iri acidic. Saka tiri kuti we have acidic water. Acidity kana kuti the acid part it's an impurity. Saka iyo panapa patiri kuti acidic anditi tikutaura kuti acid inenge iri chi impurity. But acid manje iyi inenge iri roughly speaking soluble because yagadzira a solution with water. Saka we can have acidic water, we can talk about saline water, and salt ndo inenge yadissolve into water ika-create a solution. We can also talk about alkaline water, which in most instances is a rough opposite of acidic water. So these are examples of soluble impurities anenge ari mumvura, anenge achiaffecta properties of water like acidity, alkalinity, like saline, etc. But we have insoluble impurities. Apa ndo patakutaura zvimuti, takutaura pamusoro pe sand, stones, etc. Andika zvinhu zvisingakwanise kugadzira a solution with water because those objects, material substances cannot dissolve in water. Saka our next point here is going to be takuda kudi kuva ne a rough list of zvinhu izvi. Soluble impurities include calcium, metallic compounds, and inorganic pollutants. Ma-impurities anogona kunzi ma-pollutants nekuti anenge achipolluta ma-water bodies kana kuti anenge achipolluta mvura yacho. So that's something you have to know. Saka chiri kutaurwa panapa, soluble impurities, they include calcium, which is an element, metallic compounds, iron, etc., and inorganic pollutants. Kana chinhu chiri inorganic zvoreva kuti hachiori. Only organic pollutants cannot compounds can disintegrate, they can decay. Inorganic pollutants zvinhu zvisingaori, kureva kuti organic pollutants zvinhu zvinenge zvichiora. Let us also just put down a small list of insoluble pollutants, cannot impurities. So for insoluble impurities, these include what? What do they include? Soil, sand, plastics, and organic pollutants, cannot organic matter. Organic matter takutaura pamusoro pezvimuti-muti, zvimashrubs, mashizha, zvinhu zvinokwanisa kuora zvinenge zvichingowira mvura. That will be an example. Saka ngatitorei two images which we are going to use to illustrate, and I want to explain something polluted kana kuti water bodies with impurities, then tichazoona kuti filtration inokwana papi. That is also going to be of vital importance. So when it comes to polluted water bodies, kana kuti polluted water, kana kuti mvura inenge isiri treated, untreated water, this is quite obvious kuti mvura iyo haisi treated. You can see from its color, you can actually see some organic and inorganic pollutants there. And of course, the color can be explained using sand or other. It's actually a solution with water. Kureva kuti we have both soluble and insoluble impurities inside that water. Chero dongi chairo mukati mvura iyo rinogona kukurambirai because it's evidently dirty. But now, as men and women of science, we go an extra philosophical step. Kuti kunyangwe mvura ikava visibly clear, visibly clean from our own eyes, it's not permissible kungoimwa kana tisingakwanise kuverify kuti iri free of impurities, kana free of harmful impurities here. So I'm going to put in another image which is going to help me explain what I want to explain. That is the image. So muri kuona kuti mvura iyi iri clear to the human eye, but tarisai source yacho iri kubva muzi rakaita setengi rinokuratidza kuti renge ritori netsvina or something. That is the reason why boiling is recommended kana musiri sure kuti the source of your water. Saka mvura haifanirwi kungoonekwa iri clear mototi iri right. Ndosaka vagari vazhinji veMarare vasingamwi mvura yepatepu kunyange iri clear. Kudhara yaibuda yayo iri brown, iko zvino yakubudawo iri clear, but people are still skeptical kuti haina kunyatso kutreatwa zvakanaka. The same applies. So the source of where you are getting your water should tell you, kana kuti should give you reasonable plausibility kuti mvura iyi yakachena here kana kuti haina. Otherwise, water should be treated at a domestic level, kuboiler, kufilter, etc. Then water should also be treated at a commercial level. Mvura inosupplyiwa nema metropolitan councils like the Council of Harare, the Council of Gweru, the Council of Mutare, the Council of London, the Council of Kigali, etc. So we are going to look at a commercial level of water purification. But there's something we have to remember when it comes to filtration, which is going to be vital in our analysis. We learned as a recall kuti filtration is a separation method for separating chinechi, for separating insoluble solids, takati insoluble kana kuti undissolved solids and liquids. In context panapa trikutaura for the liquid, of course it's water, then insoluble or undissolved solids ndo panoma examples atapa panapa. An example would be sand. Mapona. Saka filtration tichaishandisa pakutreata mvura yedu andika. Filtration ingechishanda kubvisa ma insoluble or undissolved impurities kana kuti pollutants, zvimutimuti, maplastiki netumwe twunhu twakangowanda tunenge turi mumvura. Then of course hatisuzongomirira ipapo. Filtration is simply but a part of the purification process of water. Tichazotaura kuti ko microorganisms akaita sema bacteria and other minute harmful, potentially harmful organisms tinomatreata sei. That's where we bring in chlorination kana kuti the use of a loom, but let us go step by step. Saka zvatakuda kuchita panapa, takuda kuchitarisa procedure, takuda kuchitopinda process yacho ndo yatikuda kudiscussa. Saka the process of purifying or treating water. we are going to be having steps. Step number 1 inonzi sedimentation. That's step number 1. Saka sedimentation, loosely speaking, takangoti kuregera mvura yombozorora. Handi mukachera mvura mutsime munogona kumboirega kuitira kuti tumavhu tuende pasi. So we are just allowing water to settle. Our point is going to be, we pump water into what are called sedimentation tanks. To do what? And allow it to settle. Kana kuti tinogona kuti to stand for a few hours. That is what we do. Saka tina anonzi ma sedimentation tanks. Zvinhu zvakaita seizvi, you can just put it in Google. You can put it pa ChatGPT or other AI models. And you munogona kutoona chero ma video illustrations a purification process. It's going to be very important. I'm going to give you as an assignment. Kutsvaga ma videos pa, be it YouTube, be it TikTok or other video media, social media platforms. Motsvaga the process of water purification kuti mukwanise kuionawo pa TV. Kana muchitokwanisa kushanyirawo kwazvinoitwa muHarare, muri resourced at that level, you can just go there and have some trip muchiona kuti zvinoitwa sei. Because the science shouldn't be theoretical. Science should be, it's a practical subject. Saka kana tikadzidza chinhu chamunokwanisa kuita a little further research to create familiarity, I would encourage you to do that. So in the case ndakanganwa, after this lesson you have to Google pa YouTube kuti muona water mukangonyora kuti water treatment process, you are going to see a lot of videos which are going to be explaining kuti mvura ino treatwa sei, muchitoona process yacho ichiitwa kuti mu build inonzi familiarity. But still there now, I want to show you an image of this sedimentation tank. Iyi ndo sedimentation tank yacho, andi mvura iri kupambiwa ichipinda umu, then the water is allowed to settle. But this is an example of what it is iri empty neamwe ari empty, then iri rakazara mvura. Let us bring a picture inotiratidza like the structure of a sedimentation tank. So this is the structure of a sedimentation tank. This is the inlet, kureva kuti mvura inge ichipinda nemunomu ndomwe inopambwa ichipinda, then yotanga kudi kuya kuside kunoko. Then now you allow the water to settle, cannot to stand for a few hours. Andika pamunoita allow the water to stand for a few hours, mavhu, madhaka, tumatombo, tumuti tunenge turi mumvura tunoyachi tunobva tapuliwa negravity tuchidzika pasi kunoko toenda pachi this sludge collecting trough. Saka mavhu anozocollectwa nekunoko achinobuda uku the sludge. Andika then sludge scrape arm ndo yekuti mavhu netumuti nechichi tunenge tuchizobuda, mvura yosara iri clear. Then panapa we have a decanting trough which is more like an outflow. Saka decanting and filtration, even when we learned it, makaona kuti they work hand in glove. Ma processes akada kungo fanana at many levels. So that is the sedimentation tank, where you have to pump into water or pump water into it, allow it to stand for a few hours, so that what happens. Saka our next point here is going to be mud, and sand, plastic, and other impurities. Yes, other particles. They are going to fall to the bottom of the tank, and anofola say they are heavier due to gravity. And they are lighter, they are floater, but they are falling due to gravity. And when they fall, what happens? And form a layer of sludge, cannot sludge. And they form a layer of sludge, or you can call it a layer of sediment. Those noitika panapa. And then zvaitika manje, the sludge or sediment is collected through a trough. Through a trough at the bottom of the sedimentation tank. And again, like this. Saka ndo zviri kuitika izvo. But now what we want to look at is a step number 2. Saka mvura yedu inenge ya to the eye clearer to the eye, because tinenge tabvisa mavhu, tumatombo, tuchi. But tune tumwe tunhu tudiki manje tunogona kusakwanisa kudi kuva pulled by gravity to the bottom, because remember gravity and density and they also work hand in glove. Pakuti kana chinhu chisina uremu, chine a lower density than water, zvoreva kuti chinoflota. You understand? Saka papa mavhu, tumaplastiki, tumatombotombo netumuti turi kuzocollectwa as sludge or sediment in a way kuti turi more dense than water, so it's going to sink to the bottom as pulled by gravity, of course. But panapa manje, what if tine tunhu turi less dense tunoramba turi mumvura? What then are we going to do? We are going to go to step number 2. And step 2 inenge irichi filtration. That's step number 2. Saka for step number 2 manje, the water, let us write the point, then we show the image. The water is filtered, and again, so yeah, filtered through sand and gravel. Saka filter paper, speaking loosely, it's made up of sand and gravel to do what? To remove smaller particles and again, saka smaller particles togona kuti which are less dense than water, so they don't sink to the bottom of the sedimentation tank. Like that. So that is the matter. Then let us bring in an image. Saka indio example ye the sand and gravel filter yacho. So this is actually a sand and gravel filter. But kuti tinyatsokuona kuti inoshanda sei, let us do this. Tichazotaura about filtration core manje, but we have filtration sand and we have filtration gravel, and this is the under drain. Saka mvura manje iri kungoiswa so andika yaiswa yopfura through core. Tichataura manje kuti why ichifanira kupfura through core, yozonopfura through sand pachibatwa tumwe tunhu tudiki twanga tisingakwanisi kufiltiwa through the sedimentation tank, yopfura through gravel pachibatwa tumwe, then yozoya ku under drain where it's collected. So this is where water is collected. Mapona. Saka this is the filtration process, which is step number 2. Step number 3 yakuchiexplaina why tine filtration core. Saka step 3 yedu andika core filtration inogona kuitwa wakaoneka but netu sekuona kwa maita uku, but let us separate it for the sake of learning. Saka panapa tiri kuti we have to treat with carbon, treat water with carbon kana kuti charcoal. Why tichidaro? This removes apa takuchidila ne smell manje, so this removes unpleasant taste and smell. Saka kubvisa unpleasant taste and smell, we have to use core filtration. Saka core filtration taisa pa step 3 kunyangu ichikwanisa kubatana ne step 2 kuitira kuti tibvise unpleasant taste and also unpleasant smell, ndiko kuti odor. Now for our last step, step 4, we are talking about chlorination. And chlorination inomboitirwei bacteria and other microorganisms are too small kana kuti too minute to be trapped by filters. And my filters acho, remember, tine a sand and gravel filter, tine again a core filter. So they are too small to be trapped by filters. So what then do we do? Chlorine is added to kill bacteria and other microorganisms. And that is the reason why chlorine is added to kill bacteria and other microorganisms. Then we know that consumption of untreated water leads to diseases like cholera and typhoid. Saka, these are the four steps which we have to undergo in water treatment. Let us put an image which seeks to explain everything. This is the image. So this is a diagram which shows the stages in the treatment of water. The stages of treating water are sedimentation, filtration with carbon, and chlorination. Saka mvura iri kupinda mu sedimentation tank. Andidi. Saka iri ndoji sedimentation tank. Ndo muri kupinda mvura, sediment iyi yobuditswa. Handika? Saka mvura yapinda yasettle for a few hours in the sedimentation tank. Sediment ichabuditswa through an outlet, mvura yabva yacollectwa ichipinda muno. But muno manje ndo mune a fine filter of gravel, sand and charcoal. Saka filtration tank, this is called a filtration tank. Rinogona kuva ne a layer of charcoal pamsoro, a layer of sand, a layer of gravel. And cannot a layer of charcoal, gravel, sand. So that mvura yabva yapinda pachigadziriswa nawo ye-smell and odor, smell and taste, pachigadziriswa nawo yetumwe tuma smaller impurities twanga turi lesser denser than water, saka toramba turi mumvura tuna kuita sink to the bottom as sediment or sludge. Tabva mvura yabva yapinda mu chlorination chamber kana kuti chlorination tank. Saka mvura yapinda mu chlorination tank po ediwa chlorine, then water is pumped because apa yakuita go against gravity, that's why it's pumped. yopinda mustorage tank, then through different mapipes and stuff it's delivered to homes. Saka masteps ese ari 4 kana kuti 3, and masteps angona kuva 4 kana 3. Masteps edu takachigona kumanyora akadai so: step 1 sedimentation, step 2 filtration, and saka tine coal and sand and gravel filtration. Tachigona kuibatanidza ise step number 2. Then step 3 chlorination. Ndo masteps matatu atanga tichigona kutaura nezvawo. So this diagram summatively speaks about everything we have to know, from sedimentation to filtration, coal, sand and gravel filtration, to chlorination, then it's pumped to homes. This is what we wanted to learn when it comes to water treatment. Have any problems, questions, queries, critiques, don't hesitate to use the comments section. Want to join our school through tutorship and extra lessons? WhatsApp us on the numbers which are going to show on your screen in a moment. Otherwise, thank you and have a nice one.